Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Social Media from Overwhelm to Easy. I'm so excited to have you here. Please put in the chat your social media handles so we can all follow each other and what your business is or what you do, because we can all benefit from just following each other, learn from each other. Always get a great follow in there. So feel free to put in the chat your social media information, and we can follow you, like you, support you, and you could also put what your business is. So let's start off by putting all of your handles in the chat, and I promise I'm going to follow you all later as I'm sharing on one screen. Okay, can everyone see me okay? Awesome. Great. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. As I said, put in your social media handles, put in what your business is, and we can all follow each other. Oats and Coats. Okay, cool. Making healthy fun for kids. Oh, I'm really excited to follow that. My kid only eats bagels, pizza, and ice cream. 3 things. So, okay. Amazing baby app. All right, great. I can't wait to follow all these later. Please follow each other because we'll talk about partnerships with social media in a few. So you never know who you can partner with. So put your Instagram or your Facebook if you want people to go to it in the chat, and we'll all follow each other. All right. It's 11:02. Let's get started. Okay. So social media from easy to overwhelm. Oh, well, opposite way, from overwhelm to easy. So today we're going to review social media platforms, how to use them to your advantage, learn how to create a clear social strategy. That is the secret of social media, is having a plan in place. And the third thing we're going to do is figure out how to leverage social media into sales. So it's great that we have these channels and we're fostering relationship. But at the end of the day, we have social media for an action. We want people to buy, convert, sell something in some way. So how do we do that through social media? So first off, hi. For those who don't know me, my name is Brooke Shapiro. I actually have a small business myself called Sprinkles Parents, where I provide parent solution platform to about 1,000 families here in the Bay Area with education, activities, and resources. So all focused on marketing, which is my area of expertise, as I spent 15 years as a senior marketer at brands like Taco Bell, Clorox, Johnson & Johnson. And while those are amazing being at Fortune 500 companies, I always found myself gravitating towards smaller brands and businesses, being scrappy, really creative, as that's where I really like to shine. So last year, after being a mom of 2, I left corporate Clorox, and I decided to start consulting for early stage and small businesses. I'm either becoming like the entire marketing arm, where I do everything soup to nuts for brands so that founders can focus on their needs, like investors and actual product that they love and built themselves. Or I provide like the roadmap and resources and guidance to help different early stage businesses kick off with their needs and be that cheerleader along the way to help you thrive in marketing. So thank you guys for trusting me and coming today. I'm really excited to share what I've learned about social media with all of you. So let's start off with complaining. What's your biggest frustration with social media today? What do people feel like is like super overwhelming? What their biggest challenges is? Just put them in the chat. That what is your biggest frustration? Oh, so many channels. Yes, that is a big one. Knowing which one to be on, what to say on it. I always find myself feel like I can spend an hour each morning, maybe 2, just posting on different channels. And we'll talk about all those channels and everything there. Another thing I hear is that what you say, making engaging captions, trying to figure out the trends, right? There's always a new filter, a new something on social media. I feel like it's so hard to keep up. You're competing with so many other people, right? There's a lot out there in feeds. The feeds and stories go fast. I think right now people spend maybe 1 second on your story, if that, if you can catch them to get them engaged longer. So how do you get people's attention? So let's start off with, I call these the 7 social media traps. So we don't want to be trap queens. We want to be out of these social media traps. So the first one is not knowing your audience, meaning you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what they want to hear. You might be saying, thinking your audience is X, but the people who are actually buying your product are Y. So you need to know your audience. So trying to be on TikTok if your target audience are actually like boomers. So you have to, baby boomers. So you have to make sure who your actual audience is. You're on the platform where they are. Second big trap. And someone said this too, because there's always new tools in social media. You're spending so much time on social media. You spend forever making that video, deleting the video, making that video again, putting a different background on. You could just spend a ton of time on social media playing around with it. And so how do you just create that content, move on and go? 3, you're creating content without an action. So you might be making a really great video, but it kind of falls flat. There's no what to do next, not telling the consumer what to do, which we'll talk about more. 4, you're trying to be across too many channels. You're trying to be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And so you're just all over the place, not making traction in any of them. And that's really frustrating. And it kind of goes back to spending too much time. 5, you might be investing in social media. So you might be doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads through the Meta platform, or you might be investing in other marketing tools like Pinterest search, or paying for content to be produced. But it's great you're doing that, but you don't have goals set in place. You don't know what kind of results you're actually looking for. You're not holding the influencers accountable. 6, you're focusing on the wrong platform. This is the biggest trap I fall into. As I said, I have a community of over 1,000 people on Facebook that are engaging and talking about parenting. And I will spend my time on Instagram, which is not where my audience actually is. So you have to make sure you're really leaning into the right platform with your time until you're ready to start expanding onto the next platform. 7, you're not really engaging, or you're just posting really flat content. I see a lot of my clients come to me with this like picture perfect content of their coffee in the middle of the woods, but that's not necessarily what a consumer wants to see. Their consumer wants to see something like a video or something that's more engaging or something that they can actually share. They probably aren't sharing a picture of a coffee in the woods. So think about, what would you want to share? What is something interesting and engaging to you? So those are the 7 social media traps. So keep those in mind when you find yourself on social media and you're like, oh, like I'm so frustrated. Are you falling into one of these social media traps? Okay, next. Oops, all right, we're gonna go down. Is, what is social media? Let's just start with that. I like to always start off my webinars. This is the second one I've actually done with, what is it? What does it actually mean, social media? I feel like it's become a buzzword, everything social media. And why is it important? So social media is electronic communication. So it's essentially just a social network. There are communities, like your audience that you want to reach in one place. You can make it a personal message in certain cases. You can share ideas, there's information, and you can also now start making videos. Why it's important is the number one thing in marketing at the end of the day, 150%, I don't care what anyone says, is you need to get your target audience to be your marketer. You want them to recommend your product to a friend. That's why reviews are so important. That's why PR is so big. You want to get your consumers say, oh yeah, I love this product, or oh yeah, I totally use this app or this person, because there's no stronger form of marketing than that. And so social media has become really important because that's the closest thing you can. You can reach lots of people at once. They are talking to each other. You're able to organically integrate into the conversation. So that's why social media has really blown up. So this is the biggest thing for today. There are 2 ways you need to think about social media in parallel. So think of it like a yin and a yang, right? You can't do one without the other. You can't do the other without the one. They really go together. And lots of people either lean pendulum one way, where they love making content, they're really creative, they enjoy the visualization of it. Or some people, and I'm one of those people, where more growth engagement. They're more like having a lot of followers, they're putting themselves out there, they're gaining, they're getting all these followers, they're either paying for them or somehow getting them. But you need to make sure it's a mixture of both and you're getting the right mix of them. And once you kind of figure out the science between the 2, that's when you'll really shine in social media. So content. Video is number 1. I don't care what anyone says. You can look at studies on TikTok. Obviously, it's why it's blowing up. It's because it's a video platform. On Instagram now, they are prioritizing any type of video, especially reels, over any graphic post you're going to make in Canva. So unless you make a video, it's really going to be hard to get out there. Video can also get discovered more because it's more of a discovery. So when in doubt, make a video. You can make, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished, but just make a video. You can have images. People need to know what your product looks like, but just know when to sprinkle those in, because people don't just want to keep seeing your product over and over, unfortunately, or your service about, your services. They want to see videos, information, education, connect with them. And then brand look, feel, and tone. Are you consistent? Do you use the same colors? Do they know what to expect from you? Do you come off in different voices in different ways and not really consistent? People feel comfortable when they feel like it's a consistent time. They always see how you and your brand and your business show up. And like I've been kind of alluding to, and you're going to hear this throughout, have a clear call to action. That's the secret of marketing. You want to have what you want that consumer to do, when you want them to do it, how they do it, and you need to make it easy for them. So having that right mix of content is really going to be key. And so on the opposite end of the content, oh, and the other thing I want to say about content, sorry, just to bounce back, is a lot of people will pay for an agency to create their content for them. They'll pay for the stock images. They'll pay for someone to just be posting imagery for them, which is okay for maybe initial setup, but it's not necessarily authentic to your brand. It's not necessarily, like I said, they're not making great videos for you that are engaging. They aren't, they can only do so much without your guidance and consistency and collaboration. So make sure, from the content standpoint, it really is what is going to drive the needle. And you can't just have beautiful content without the growth and engagement. So lots of people come to me and they say, look, I have all these beautiful influencers I've made content with, and look at all this, this agency I have creating content for me every month, but they have 100 followers. The problem is because there are the content, but you also need the growth. You need to have the engaging with consumers. You need to be talking to them. You need to be following people to follow you back. You need to have more, you need to be have more followers than you are following. If you have the opposite, the algorithm is going to push you down. So you need to be having more followers than you are following. So delete people that you're not engaging with. You need to make sure you're saying like for like. You need to be connecting with that audience. You need to be giving them information. You need to be messaging with them and really engaging them in an authentic way. And having consumers comment, having them share, asking them to share, doing giveaways to share, whatever it is, to be really growing. So if like I said, it's one and the other have to work together. So growth and engagement is very important. But again, lots of people will come to me with 5,000 followers and no sales because you may not have the right followers. You might be getting people that want free stuff or people that just wanted the giveaway. So, or you're partnering with influencers that just do freebies or that are just like posting giveaways all the time. So the consumers are taught to just want something for free. If you want people to be paying for you, you need to be getting the right people that are engaged and are willing and at the right stage of their life or right before they're going to be in a certain stage, right? If they just got married, they're going to buy a house. If they are pregnant, they're going to need a lactation consultant. If they have kids, they need help traveling. Like you need to be a little bit one step ahead of them and just start engaging with them and connecting with them. Because if you're catching them at the time that they have already gotten the service or they already found the solution, it's going to be too late. All right. I need to stop talking for a second. Let's play a game. In the chat, please name all the different social media platforms that you think exist today. What are some platforms that you think are for social media? Facebook, exactly. Pinterest, yeah, Pinterest is a really good one. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Oh, yeah, Instagram. My chat is on the screen, so yes, Snapchat, Reddit, yep. All right. Fun fact, there are probably about over 20 different social media platforms. I think I put in 18 because I got sick of putting in logos. But they are so many social media platforms. I think a lot of us just think Facebook, Instagram, or, Facebook, TikTok, and kind of really focus on those big three Pinterest is a really great one if you are into crafts and engagement and thinking people might be searching what to do, like how to engage with kids or how to do something with their families, or doing if you're in DIY. Pinterest is a really great platform that people tend to look over. Obviously there's YouTube, a huge audience there that you need to break through, but I'm going to be putting my webinar on YouTube in case people are searching for it. It's a great place to store any education videos that you're creating or give more information to your consumers on YouTube. There's WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, and Instagram, where your people are in groups talking and you can integrate there. And if you're trying to reach investors, obviously LinkedIn is, and your personal brand is there. Snapchat, if you're trying to get millennials, Twitter. If you're a local business, like you're a preschool brand or you are some service, you need to be on Yelp because that's where people are going to be looking for you. They're going to be wanting to find more about you. I forgot to put on here, frankly, Google, right? All the Google businesses that are on there, make sure you have a Google business to show up. Reddit is, and Twitch, if you're trying to reach men, those are huge audiences. Twitch is absolutely blown up right now, obviously. And it's not just gaming anymore. It's people commenting, it's people talking about things. There's polywork if you're trying to reach people that are not your everyday LinkedIners, so like yoga instructors and more of those dynamic people. There's Slack. Slack groups are a huge, great marketing platform where people are talking about things, sharing solutions. Clubhouse, oh my gosh, what do I have on it? Patreon, Quora, like there's so much on here and you can't do them all unless you have a giant paid team. And I don't recommend you do them all because your audience is probably on one. And people, you are on these platforms for different reasons, right? People may not be looking for preschools on Instagram. People probably are looking on Google for Instagram, for like something like a preschool. I know I keep going back to that, I guess, because I need to find my daughter a preschool. But the thing is there are people across all of these. It's again, knowing who your audience is, where they are, which platform, where are they going to, and you authentically being there with a solution through social media. So I'm not going to go through all of these because that would be like a college course we would need of 18 weeks to go and deep dive into each. So for now, I'm just going to go into Facebook and Instagram. I have Pinterest, TikTok, and one other, YouTube in the appendix of this deck if you are on those platforms and want to learn more of how you break through in those. But for instance, some time, I'm going to just focus on Facebook. So who's on Facebook? Baby boomers, Gen X, older millennials. I'm not going to say Gen Z is not on Facebook because they are, but they aren't spending as much time, I would say, as older millennials. Facebook groups are a really great marketing platform. I think sometimes they may get overlooked by people. If it's the right brand, the right topic, you can really build a business off of Facebook groups. They've done a great job with their business platform. Facebook ads, you can target people based off of interest. You could put in, as much money or as little money, but again, you have to know who your right target audience is. You have to know what they want to hear from you and at what time, right? If you're a new mom, you can market to them in the middle of the night, and that's great. But just knowing the right time you're reaching people is even key on Facebook. You have the business pages there. So that's where you can also put information about your business, have a chat bot to talk with people. Leverage Facebook Live. If you are an expert in a housing brand or something, you can always do Facebook Lives, sharing what you see, sharing the house you're looking at, sharing anything there. You can do Facebook events if you want to start meeting people in person or doing virtual education classes like I'm doing. Facebook is a really great tool for you. Whenever you're making content on Facebook, you want to make things really open-ended. It's a conversation, kind of like Twitter too, right? You're wanting to spark that, not shock factor, but you kind of want to spark something so people start talking. You want to make them feel like they're belonging, they're part of a group. You also can test out different messaging, which is really nice, and see which one works. Answering questions for growth is a really great way. For example, if you have a small, you're starting off with your brand and you see everyone asking about how to travel in your travel brand, you can easily just start answering questions. Or if you see people saying, I don't know how to put my kid to sleep in your sleep consultant, just start posting resources for people and driving them back to your site. You can, if you do decide to start a Facebook group based off of like a solution or a passion that your business is, make sure to start gathering their email addresses. I made that mistake with my group. And so I have 1,000 people and 780 email addresses. So that's obviously a bunch of people I'm missing. So make sure you're always asking for email addresses whenever you can, so you can build that relationship. And then you take your relationship from social media, where you are fostering that, and you're asking, and you can send them, sales, coupons, or a discount or anything through email. And so social media, think of it as that giant net, and you're bringing them through to convert. Why and when you use it? Facebook is really great for any cause marketing. If you're solving a problem, if you're a local business, if you are having a big problem that you are solving for, or just a specific topic. Okay, so I see a question, so just going to pause there. Yes, you cannot promote your business, but that's saying, hi, I'm this business, come work with me. There's no rules against you answering a question for someone that says, I don't know how to get my kid to eat vegetables. And then you say, hey, I've been, I saw this, I have the solution of this brand that, makes meals for your kids, and you can send them to your website. Or you wrote an article about making your kids eat healthier, and you can send them to your website to read more. Or you can say, I created this information and maybe it'll be helpful for you. I actually just saw a mom in a Facebook group the other day who posted her kid had special needs, and another mom was like, hey, I have a special needs resource. Like, here's this stuff that helped me. I hope this helped you. And it was just like grassroots. It was authentic. It drove everyone who saw it on their site. Everyone started thanking her for it. So it's not necessarily just like pushing yourself out there saying, hey, look at me. You're answering a question. It's authentic. You have this resource that someone is actually looking for at that time. And you're engaging with them and showing that you're the expert. So it's a way to figure out if your messaging is effective or not, could be based off of engagement, if people comment on it, if that's your call to action. You can see if it's working, if people are clicking, if that's what you wanted them to do. You can see if it's working based off of how long maybe they watched your video. If they spent a lot of time on it, it's working, they're engaged. Just depends on what that is that you are developing for them, for your marketing. Any other Facebook questions before we jump to Instagram, which hopefully everyone knows is owned by Facebook. So if you do any paid advertising through the Meta platform, it actually is on Facebook and Instagram. Your ads can go across both. So that's why so many people have been investing there, because you're getting two, for one, even WhatsApp, I think, is on there too now. So Instagram. Here's what I'm going to say about Instagram. And more, this might be a little shocking. I think people can get away without spending too much time on Instagram and repurposing things that they are making on either Facebook or TikTok. Because Instagram has turned into a little bit of both, right? They have the reels, which is what they're pushing over all imagery and graphics that you create right now. They're kind of like, they don't necessarily have its own identity as much anymore, because they're trying to be a little bit of each, which is fine. And then that way you're not spending so much time on Instagram, and you can still do Instagram lives, which are great, but those aren't getting as much push from Instagram as they used to. And it's more focused on the reels, which you're making on TikTok anyways, typically. So I think, make sure you're making reels. That's going to be in their discovery. That's what they're going to be pushing. That's what they're going to be prioritizing. Stories only last so long. So make sure when you do make stories, if you want consumers to see it, or if you have an influencer making it, make sure they put it in their highlights and you put it in your highlights so that they last forever. And the highlights are on the top that are just like saved. And some brands I've seen are really great about it. You can put all your PR, you can put all your retailer focused stuff in one place. You kind of are like organizing your social media there versus your feed, where it's kind of whatever you're posting at the time. So leverage highlights, because at least those last forever. We talked about discovery, Instagram lives. Whenever you do make videos on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, make sure you use the caption, because a lot of people listen to their phones on mute or maybe in the middle of the night. So captions are really key nowadays. You can just use the sticker and save it. Leverage reminders on Instagram. That's another really good thing about reminders is people will get notifications when something, your sale or what you're doing or your shop is happening. Making sure you have easy links for everything, the shop links, the link trees. Make it so your consumers can buy easy or connect with you or sell with you, however your conversion is, as easy as possible. And we'll talk about that more. Make it authentic. Like I said, repurpose. Create actions and giveaways. That's what Instagram is also really great for, any types of giveaways, partnerships that could be actually surprising or shocking. We'll talk about more in a bit. Focusing on video, like we said, and you want to stay on top of mind. So you need to just be posting consistently, getting your message out there, and providing education. All right, it's already nearly 11:30. How to create a social strategy. I'm sure many of you, and I fall into this as well, you just post, a day before, maybe a few days before you think about what you're going to make. You sort of are just posting by the seat of your pants. You're like, oh, I'm here. I'm going to be doing X. I'll just post about it. It sort of works, but to really succeed, you need to have a social strategy. You need, like everything you do in your business, you sort of have a plan in place. You think about what you're going to do. You kind of have a story you're going to be telling, that you're going to be creating, and taking consumers through this journey with you. So let's talk about creating the social strategy so that social media doesn't seem so overwhelming, and we can kind of make it a little bit more organized and easier for you. So start small. Like we talked about, just master a single platform. Once you know who your target audience is, where they spend their time, how they're spending their time, then you know where they are, and you can just start small and just talk to them there. You are talking to them one-on-one. It's just, you're making videos, you're authentic, you're just, you know what they want to hear, you're just really leaning in. So for example, with my Sprinkles parents, I am connecting with moms of kids under the age of 3, and I knew a lot of them were in mom groups. And so I just started really small with a Facebook group because I knew they were in these Facebook groups anyways as mom asking questions. So I knew I wanted to create a solution with all the questions I see them asking in other groups of how to travel with kids, how to get my kids to sleep through the night, how much should my kids eat, what can I do for a meal? And I just started seeing these questions and just start on my social media platform on Facebook, answering those questions, having resources for them, sparking those conversations for them that I know they're having in other places, answering those questions for them through video. And so that helped me get my social, group to 1,000 people in, 5-6 months. So just really starting small, mastering one platform can make a really big impact. Build once. So as we talked about, you might be making, social, or you might be making content for your website. You might be making content for your retailer if you're at a store. You might be making content for your LinkedIn or whatever social media platform you're on, or doing a podcast. So whatever you're making, build it once and think about how you can use it in other places. If you're going to produce something for social, how can you put it in an email? If you're going to be making something for a retailer, like I said, how can you turn that into something you can now put on social, or you making it for the retailer and put it on social? Figure out how to make something once, or think about what you're making at this time once and how to put it on one social media. If you're on 2, how to edit it so it could be on 2. If it's going in other areas of your marketing, how to make it 3. Just think about what you're making once and then how you can repurpose it versus trying to make lots of different things. It's unattainable to be constantly making marketing on social media platforms or in even other places. Make a plan. I kind of alluded to this earlier. This is an example plan. You obviously are welcome to use something similar to this. If you're on multiple platforms, you can put what you're doing. You can put other forms of marketing on it. You could put in here what your video is going to look like or be about, and what you want to say in the captions, right? To start organizing it. Use a calendar, make a plan, just like you do with your life. It's easier to have, know what you're going to be posting, know what you're going to want to be saying. There are tools out there that will have it post automatically for you if you don't want to do it every day, be posting. You can also use these tools to plan out what you're doing. They help give you ideas and thoughts of how to make them. Or I can help you make them as well. More than happy to make your content calendar for you. And just, it's all based off of connecting with the consumer, what you want them to say, what you want them to do. Just having a plan will really help. So how to turn social media actually into sales and clients. So the first thing was, like we talked about, not falling into those traps, right? Because that's not going to help us. The second thing was making the social media strategies. So we have a plan, we know what to do, where to go, and how to do it. And then the last thing is going to be turning social media into sales and clients. So actually, before I jump into that, I'm going to take a few questions. So how do you find where your audience is? Someone asked. The way you find where your audience is you first off think about who you want to be in your audience. Do you want it to be, I used to work on Kingsford charcoal. So are they grillers? Okay, where are grillers getting information? They might be Googling it. They might be watching on YouTube. They might be on their meds. They might be gaming, so they could be on Twitch. They are grilling and they're seeking information from other grilling influencers. You just think about who your target is and what a day in the life could look like for them, is how I like to do it. Is I think, okay, they wake up, maybe they're, they are not probably thinking about grilling yet, right? So you probably don't want to reach them in the mornings. They maybe when it gets closer to dinner, or maybe they're planning on the earlier in the week, so what they're going to do on the weekends. You just think about what their day in the life is, where they are, what times. I think someone asked about, do you post certain times of day? Yes, depending on who your audience is, you want to reach them at the time of day they're most engaged. And then you know where they are because you've made their like ideal day. You know when that they check their Instagram during lunchtime, during their break if they're working at a plant, for example, your ideal audience, they only have that 12 to 1 break that they get to be on their phones because their phones are in their pockets. So that's when you're going to want to market to them. Or if you're targeting new moms, they're probably up in the middle of the night. And so that's a great time to reach them because they buy lots of stuff on Amazon and don't know what they bought the next day. Or maybe that's just me as a mom. But you need to know your target audience in, out, around, how they breathe, where they go out to eat, what they do. Literally, you need to know everything about your target audience, and then you'll know what social media platform they are. And then you'll know how they want to be spoken to, and then you'll know how to engage with them. I hope that answered your questions, you guys. So pivoting back to turning social media into sales. So doing a lot of the things I just mentioned is really going to be key. And what we just talked about, it's talking to the right audience with the right content, knowing who they are, what they wanted to see. That's the only way you're going to be able to make a sale with them, because they'll feel you'll be a step ahead of them, knowing what they need, knowing what they wanted to see on social media that day, knowing that they connected with you. And then the second thing that's really powerful with social media to convert into sales, believe it or not, is actually partnering with a complementary brand or influencers. We will talk about influencers if I didn't in a few. So partnering with complementary brands or influencers. This is the biggest learning I had while I was on Taco Bell. So many of you may or may not know this. Taco Bell partners with Doritos for these Doritos Locos Tacos, which are, I don't love Taco Bell, but people who love Doritos, they have those fans, and then there are people that love Taco Bell. They were the same target audience that those two brands realized, and they came together and made this Doritos Tacos Locos Tacos, and they sell 1 million of these every day. For the past 7 years, I think they've been doing this. It is the magic of finding a complementary brand to you and working with each other in social media, to whether you're doing giveaways, whether you're giving away information, whether you're doing an experience, whether you are just doing a webinar together, or whatever it is. Find a complementary brand and you guys will be selling to each other, converting each other's audiences, because 1 + 1 = 3. And that's why influencers are so powerful too, but it's making sure you have the right influencers. I thought I had a bit about influencers, but maybe it'll be coming up. Because influencers are obviously really important to social media. 3, you need to give your consumers an action. Tell them what they want to do. we sometimes always, as small business owners myself, think people are magically going to do what I wanted them to do. Of course, you knew that I wanted you to sign up for a Sprinkles Parents, park play day that we have. Or of course you wanted to come to a brewery and winery and drink with your kids and families and not feel embarrassed about your kids having a total tantrum meltdown. But unless you tell people what you wanted them to do, they just think, oh, that's cool. You didn't tell them to sign up. You didn't tell them to go buy. You didn't tell them what it is. You didn't have a link for them to do it. They'll just keep passing through it. So always make sure, actually, I shouldn't say always. Many times make sure if you're creating something where you want to have an action like the sale or go to the store or come here, you're telling them what you want them to do. Consumers don't realize it. Making it as easy as possible for them. So whenever possible, have the link to your site, have the link of your email address clear, not just in with a bunch of words. I see lots of people have social posts, an image with just like lots of information on it. Well, you're putting this information in your name and your email address, and there's like 10 different forms of information on here and people don't know where to focus. So you always want to make things really clear, really short, really direct, and you tell them what to do and where to do it and have the links of where you want them to go or shop or buy. Think about it. Less is more, especially in social media. You can have lots of different carousels, maybe in Instagram, where you're giving them short bits of information to keep following. But if you have too much in every one, consumers don't have time to really read into it. So, as I kind of said in the beginning, have your followers become your brand advocates. You want them to tell others about your business. That's why social media is so powerful. You want them to share with friends. You want them to give with others. That's the secret of social media. So you have to build a relationship with them on social media. You'll have to be telling them what they wanted to hear or what they wanted to see or information they need or validation of how great they are. That's the secret. Is your goal on social media is to get people to love your brand, to be sharing your brand, to be converting to your brand and, selling, like buying with you and sharing with others. That's the secret to social media at the end of the day. So before we go into QA, the one thing I think I missed while talking through things was influencers. I think I glossed over influencers. So does anyone here want to know about influencers? Anyone use influencers or work with them? The secret to influencers is just making sure is that they're really authentic. There are lots of influencers out there. A lot of influencers that are just pushing out random product. Here's this cartoon, and if you have a chance to read, it's really funny. Like, she has a lawnmower, she has coffee, she has lipstick. Like, yes, they're all different elements of her life, but it's not authentic. They're just getting paid. Their consumers are really looking at these influencers maybe for something else. Like, so influencers aren't always authentic. So you need to ensure that whoever you're paying to talk about your brand, use your brand, that they actually meet your goals. They actually are helping you. They're actually posting it and saving it. So really make sure if you're going to invest and work with influencers, they're the right ones. And that's all I have. Let me know however I can help you with your business. Would love to support you in any way. Feel free you can scan the QR code and find some time with me to chat, and we'll talk about your business and see how I can help you with marketing. Would love to just learn more. So would love to hear some questions. Okay, we got one. What's a good example of when it's appropriate to include an influencer in your social media plan? A really great time to include a social media influencer, assuming they are the right one, right? They are, if you're a mom brand, just for example, is they have a baby, right? If you're a baby formula company, I'm actually helping launch right now. We need to make sure this person who's an influencer actually has a baby. We don't want someone who has a 10-year-old who's talking. And we're going to be leveraging, really high-end expensive influencers during the launch of our product. It's the right time. We need to get the new news. And then we want to make sure that, they actually are putting it so it lasts forever, not a 2-second story. Making sure it's in their highlights so that's forever, making sure they give us that asset that we can use forever and put paid media behind it on Facebook and influencer to promote it. And it's using their brand and our brand to really shine. So anything where there's new news, a launch, some time that's really key for you is when you use an influencer. I wouldn't necessarily use influencers for like buy 2, get 1 free, or some kind of like short-term sale, because influencers, you want their content to live forever since you're paying a lot for them. So if you have a sale, it will eventually end. You can use influencers, the right influencers, for maybe big giveaways if they have a brand too. So it's all about having that authentic influencer who's going to really be dedicated to you, not just doing thousands of brands. One quick story is, again, when I was in Kingsford, we paid an influencer $5,000, I want to say, which is crazy, to be using our charcoal for a family barbecue. He used, the wrong product, like our competitor product, when he sent it back to us. He didn't even tag us. He didn't post it. So like for us, it was a wash. We lost $5,000 on it. So we're better off finding someone with smaller audience who's more dedicated, more authentic, more engaged, and willing to keep promoting it, than someone who's like that influencer slide I just showed, where they're like doing lots of different things that are not really authentic to them. I hope that answers your question, Jeffrey. Okay, next one is there a significant difference in having a direct website linked versus having a link tree linked on social media accounts? Oh, good, I'm happy that answered you, Jeffrey. I don't necessarily know. I think it's just about making it easy. Linktree seems to be what everyone has been leveraging. Like I said, create once and use as many platforms as possible. So anything you can just repurpose. A lot of people like to stay on Instagram. Obviously, Instagram as a business wants you to stay on Instagram, which is why they've created Linktree and shopping all within the Instagram experience, so you can easily go back versus getting distracted and going away. But whatever you can do possible to make it as simple for your consumers to buy you, purchase you, know about you, share you, is what you're going to be doing. Because if they have to take, go to another website to load, they might lose interest, right? Because it's going to take them time to open their Google browser and to load it for you if it's all searched and all in one experience. So you're just trying to do things to make consumers' life easier, as I was saying, having it linkable, having it shoppable, all really quickly. Because the minute you have 1 or 2 steps, especially on social media where people are scrolling and browsing, you can lose them. I hope that answers your question, Brittany. That's a really good one. Any other questions? I tried to make this very easy for everyone, really short for those who are going to tune in later and watch, as you all are busy business owners. You're working on so many different things, like the operations, the legal aspect, and everything. So I know marketing is just like another thing that you're like, oh, I have to do that, or else no one will find your product. How far in advance do you create a social media account? So one thing about marketing is you want to drive buzz. You want to drive momentum. You want to drive excitement. People want to be the first to know about your brand. And so you want to start building your social media account 1 or 2 months in advance. Make those people that randomly start following you part of like a pre-launch group, not secret exclusive club, but you want to start getting their email address, get them excited, wanting them to be chomping at the bit to learn more, wanting them, like teasing them along your journey, like be like, oh, look what we're making. So it's kind of bringing people along with you in that pre-launch phase. So whenever you can start your social media, just start, say that it's coming, ask them their opinions, get their thoughts, be like, hey, we're thinking pink or green. Would you guys like pink or green? Yes, no. And you're just starting to engage them and you're building that relationship with them. And then they'll be sharing it with their friends like, hey, this new product is coming. Would we're getting 10% off if we sign up. That's the goal again of social media. All right. I hope that answers your question. What are your thoughts about following algorithms, i.e. 12-second videos, posting multiple times a day? Yes, that algorithms that are constantly changing, right? If I made this 3 months ago, I'd be saying something different, as Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, are always changing their algorithms and what they're prioritizing and how to get yourself out there. So I would say you need to prioritize, know the algorithms. You could Google an entire slide about which ones to do. I'll tell you a few tips. Like I said, video, really important. Video, consistently posting. You're going to be getting pulled up a lot more. Having engagement in the captions in there. Having, the length of the video, you said is very important. Consumers spend about, I think it used to be 3 seconds was their attention span, which was less than a goldfish, which is very sad to say. So just know, like, unless you hook someone in 3 seconds, they're probably just going to scroll past you. They're probably going to move on. So what can you say, do, show, create, shock? That's really going to create that, that stickiness for the consumer on social media, so that they're not just continuing to scroll, as we see lots of times happen. And that's why I was saying earlier, partnerships are really, really key, because that is kind of almost that shock where it might be the audience that didn't know you, or they didn't expect to see you or learn about you. Kind of makes people stop and stare and like, oh, I never thought of a Doritos as a taco, or, oh, I think M&M and Geico did a commercial years ago. I was like, I never thought those two go together, but you're just kind of like, all right, you know. And the way to get these partnerships too, frankly, is like, here you've met 17 other people now that you can connect with if they seem complimentary to you that you're now following, and just message them. They may have more followers than you. They may have less followers of you. You never know who the audience is that they have versus you have. Theirs could be more like concentrated in quality and more engaged. They could just be, you'd have a lot of them who are not the right audience too. Just think about who you want to partner with, who you can easily create something with. You want it to be turnkey easy, because that's the thing with partnerships. You don't want it to take over your time. You want to both be putting in equal efforts, not one doing all the work versus the other. So what are things that are just equal partnerships, really simple, really easy, that you can quickly do together to help build the audience? A quick example, if anyone wants to be putting in any more questions, is like I do with Sprinkles, a parent education, right? And so through that parent education, I get to bring in really great partners that are speakers, that might be travel agent, a sleep consultant, lactation consultant, whatever they are. And that is a way where I'm getting their audience. I'm helping bring to them a new audience. And so we're both helping each other through a partnership. So that's just one really great way. Awesome. Well, if no one has any other questions, feel free to email me if you think of any. Thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this webinar, Learning Social Media. I hope you got some tools, some tricks. You know what traps not to fall into. I'd love to help you guys in any way to support you with your business. And hopefully we'll be chatting again. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye. Thank you guys.